done to scale, what you see. So we're basically trying to stay within the confines of the right of way. And so a lot of the stuff they see, we actually took the curb and gutter and brought it in instead of push it out. When you impact curb and gutter, you impact drainage, and there goes the cost. But when you and then when you push it out, it not only impacts drainage, but it also impacts right away. So you didn't need that here. We brought it in, just clean it up. Yeah, you can take a look at some of the design features, but we got the roundabouts, just one lane roundabouts here. And it could accommodate a tractor trailer, it could accommodate a bus. Anything bigger than that, probably not coming along this corridor. And then intersection treatments. The number one thing, what I think Jack said, there was 3 number one issues. The number one thing that we heard from folks was getting across the street.
I remember
There's
hearing that from you in the working
crosswalks.
group meeting. I wish I could walk from the pharmacy to
Yeah.
downtown. You're 1 block over, you're already in downtown. But
There's
crossing the street's
no
hard to do.
crosswalks, from road here to there. So, but if I count them up, I think we put in like 30 of them, on each quadrant of the thing. So all of these intersections that are signalized today, we put full crosswalks, high vis crosswalks on all the angles. We also added a mid block over here. It's the Dollar General, Pizza Hut. And so to break that up, we got pockets of median, just very small slivers, just to slow down folks. One here, one here, one here, nothing here, and then we got some over here too. So yeah, the red brick is just that at the intersection, the crosswalks, because we want to kind of really hone in on this. This is Raleigh Street, 2nd Street, and 3rd. We really want, if you don't do anything, start with this first, or start with the roundabout, slow them down. So we kind of broke that up, but it's all a consistent 3-lane with a dedicated left turn lane at every single intersection. So no longer do you have the 4-lane that comes in and the through lane goes, but you're stuck behind that left turning vehicle. So we got rid of that and just have a consistent 3-lane section. Other than that,
And since
wide
you're located right there at the Raleigh Street intersection, Mike, she is at the epicenter of that weird lane configuration.
oh yeah. So we got rid of
You mean the crash zone?
the crash zone. That's right.
Yeah.
It is your highest crash intersection in the entire corridor.
Yep.
I'm not surprised.
That's funny, and we know why. We looked at that, and I'm like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So, all kidding aside, so they had the left turn. If you're going, this would be west, right? Okay. So if you're going west, you have the dedicated left turn. Okay, that's okay. But then you're forcing the people that are in that one lane because you have all the parking on both sides, both directions. You have the parking out there. So if you're going straight, you actually have to serpentine and go to the outside, go straight through, and immediately go back inside. It's terrible. So we're flipping it. We're putting through and left together on through and left lane, and then the outside is exclusive right. That way the through lane stays in a straight line. So on both sides. So you should be fine. We'll just talk to DOT and they should fix that really as soon as possible, I would think. Crazy. Other than that, we do have some photo sims. We call them photo sims. This is looking at Pizza Hut before. This is kind of looking northbound, so that's Greensboro.
Yep, that'd be Greensboro.
Greensboro up there. So the sea of asphalt, right? And what it would look like when you implement that pedestrian crossing here. High visibility. It wouldn't be a signal, but it would be like actuated. That would have, we call them a rapid flashing beacon. So people get it. Street level lighting, your banners, whatever that looks like. Street trees, smaller caliber, at least to get some shade in there. Because it gets hot. Today, it was unbearable out there. I mean, we're already feeling the humid that we're so accustomed to, but it's kind of crazy. What do we got here?
Spring was a good month while it lasted.
Better shared
Mhm.
instead of separate.
So this is looking southbound, right?
I know, that's looking north. So that's coming
It's
up
looking
from
north,
the,
okay.
yeah.
Here it is. Your tractor place there. Oh, that's the artistry building. It was a beautiful,
Christie.
cool little building. I can't wait till they redo it. It's gonna look fantastic. So bulb out tiers, necking it down, the parking stars, just like any cool downtown. It's gonna look great.
Yeah.
Lighting. entry streets.
That 5-lane stretch, so it's like right through your main street there, it's almost 65 feet wide, and by bringing it down, necking it down, like you said, it's coming down to about half that distance to cross, which makes it a lot shorter. And then when you've got actual crosswalks that drivers can see and just don't look like stop bars, and
That's a good point. Yeah, so you're right. So right now you have a lot of, and even your building is right up on there, and it's hard to see around it, you know, and it is what it is. What we're doing is by bulbing out this thing and allowing these, now your car can get closer and actually have a good sight and to look around the building. It is what it is. So it's great. This is your intersection here. And we would put brick pavers in. We'd recommend that because we want to celebrate that. It's really the heart of this entire corridor. Clean it up with master arm signals, clean up the laneage that we just talked about, ADA compliance, you know, with the ramps, just clean it, clean it, clean it. This is actually the side, before you see the fence. I actually stood on top of my car to take that picture. So, yeah, just clean it up, you know, doing the right thing.
I'm sure you got some odd looks from people in Siler City saying you're in a car.
Yeah, I certainly did. I was looking there, nobody back there. I was like,
I was wondering here, Dave, I was sitting down here, doing the same thing, taking pictures, and these guys were checking me out. So there's an auto body shop there.
Yeah, and then the roundabout, this is looking southbound, so that is Fayetteville Street. So I was sitting right here taking this picture. And, you know, even when I was sitting right here, and this is the ramp, it is a ramp, and it's a flying ramp. And I know that that guy was going 45, 50 miles an hour, easily going through there. And he was going this way, you know, right into town. So trying to traffic calm, slow him down, this is kind of what it would look like. Still with that same perspective, looking towards Fayetteville Avenue. Nice crossing to get people to slow down, slow down, slow down. If you can build 70% of this, you'd be hitting a home run. And to be reality, you know, you don't have to do all of it. Just, you know, do the right thing. Cut your costs. You know? We'll look at this. This is 3/4 of a mile, right? And I don't want to speculate, but this is not a heavy lift. We do have to look, Chrissy, you brought it up, utilities. We don't know what you have. So water.
I know water goes through like that turning lane.
Yeah. So we need to figure out what that looks like.
But
It's okay though. Hear me out. I think it's okay as long as you're not saying that, okay, the town knows, the city knows they have to, you know, they're dilapidated. You know, if it is that case, then you're gonna have to deal with that no matter what. You may want to do it now before you rip that, you know, no one's gonna see this bill and then you're gonna rip it up. So you may have to do it at the same time or something.
And by
That's what happened in Little Washington.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, and they've got stormwater issues, they've got flooding issues, but it's also just very old infrastructure. So they combined everything together. And I think that the city manager there found a separate grant for those for the utilities issues. And then they combined, they've paired the projects together, working with the DOT in order to make that happen. I think the good news, and Mike, my goodness, you're much more of an expert on this than me. I believe the good news is by moving, when you're moving the curb line in, as opposed to pushing it out on a widening project, any of those costs of dealing with, dealing with drainage and dealing with utilities are less than they would be if you are actually widening out the corridor.
Yeah, and you're adding 60 or 70 parking spaces just between Raleigh and Martin Luther King.
And you're getting almost 15-foot sidewalks in addition.
So have the great minds started trying to come up with ways to fund this?
They're looking over at Matt.
So I think there's lots of options. Obviously, we can try to pursue DOT funding. That tends to be a kind of long and slow process if you go through sort of the standard DOT funding. There's some other DOT pots for like small projects that we could try to maybe pull out pieces of this to try to go after some of that funding. But then there's also all kinds of grant funding that's coming out now out of the federal infrastructure bill that there's all kinds of grant opportunities coming out of that, and it's very possible that there could be something there that we could go after as well.
But it's gonna cost city money too. It's gonna cost some kind of match.
We'll just rename it Voluntary Avenue.
That's right. I mean, think about whatever that, a bond, whatever that looks like. I don't know what your general fund looks like, but some kind of match and to offset the cost, maybe sweeten the pot for NCDOT. Like we said, if they build, even if they pitch in half of the fund to build this, if we could, in the negotiation would be the city could turn over and they maintain it once it's built up, once it's built to what we want. That could be a leverage. You just got to talk to DOT. Because a lot of time we're seeing a lot of that throughout the state. They're giving up roads that they don't really need to be maintaining. The local should be probably taking it over. But when you do that, make sure that they build it to your standard. Make sure they build what you want. And that's a good opportunity. But you got to look at long-term maintenance. Troutman was doing that with their main street, and they're taking it over. But DOT is going to build it to what they want. So that's really good. And they're putting in the peanut roundabout.
Yeah, that is one your truck drivers might really get upset about.
Peanut roundabout.
Then one of those in Leland, don't they?
I believe so. But again, the point of that is, it's understood now that, those things are difficult to navigate for freight and for logistics. And so there are standards for this is how you design them to mitigate those things or to avoid those things, or, if possible, don't do them, period. So that peanut roundabout doesn't go in on a freight route. But a circular, a 1-lane roundabout as wide as this one is
with the truck taper
enables trucks to navigate that intersection, and they're trained for that now.
and we can tweak it. I mean, the good news is, this is what we call 15-20% level of detailed concept designs. Once you get topo, we were looking at LiDAR, which is topography, to do this. And I know that, certain things are going to change in final design. They're going to find out things that we don't know about, utilities being one of them. So if it looks like this, I'll be surprised. But it's going to look very, very similar to this as we work with your designers, our designers.
Yep.
So you helped with the project downtown Sanford. Do you know how they came up with their funding?
A lot of it was DOT Matt. They already had some funds dedicated to that.
I believe that they had some bond funding through the city.
And the bond funding matches are to build it too, right?
Yeah, so they got some DOT funding for some of it they got some DOT money for Carthage Street. But a lot of the work they did, like right in the heart of the downtown, that was, I believe, city bond money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think they paid for their roundabout. They had a couple projects that back-to-back projects, right, Matt? Because they were doing some Wiley street improvements and
They've been doing all kinds of
I don't
stuff.
know how they get their money. But
They
yeah.
also
They had
had,
bond issues at one time.
yeah,
Okay.
they had a lot of
Greenway,
bonds.
Park and Rec, downtown.
That might be something
Yeah.
you want to consider, start somewhere and this feels like it's the right fit and do it.